Marketing gets attention, but operators get paid. Welcome to the Restoration Rundown podcast, built for restoration contractors who want to build serious companies, not just stay busy. My name is Ben Riccardi, the founder of Ironclad Restoration Marketing, and we work exclusively in the restoration industry. And everything we talk about here comes from real companies, real conversation, real data, and real revenue conversations. Now, this show is about leadership, operations, digital marketing, and all the gaps that are quietly costing you money, because busy doesn't equal profitable. And one of the biggest revenue leaks that I see across this industry right now is response time. Marketing can get the phone to ring, but if you don't control the conversation fast, you don't control the job. That's why we partnered with Live Switch. Live Switch allows homeowners to connect live, show the damage in real time, and help restoration contractors win jobs while that urgency is still high. Now, if you want to pressure test your response time and your close rate, there's a link in the show notes that gets you a one-on-one with their CEO, James Hatfield, to see how Live Switch can change the game for your business. Now, let's get into it. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Restoration Rundown podcast, the podcast built for restoration business owners who want to run stronger companies, lead better teams, and stay ahead of the changes shaping this industry. Speaking of staying ahead, today's episode is actually a follow-up conversation because about a year ago, my good buddy Doug Weatherman, COO of Rare Restoration, wrote an article in C&R Magazine titled, "We Have a Big Problem." And in that article, Doug raised a lot of concerns about AI entering the restoration claims ecosystem and the possibility that contractors might eventually find themselves arguing estimates with machines instead of adjusters. And shortly after that article came out, Doug joined me here on the Restoration Rundown about a year ago for an episode called AI and the Future of Restoration. Well, quite a bit has happened in the AI world since then. So today we're going to revisit that conversation just to ask a few simple questions. One mainly being, were those concerns ahead of their time, or is the industry still underestimating what's coming? What's up, Doug? Welcome back to the show.
Hey, buddy. Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me. Glad to be back, too, to circle back on a year, man. This is where it all started right here. This was the first podcast I ever did in the restoration space. So thanks for having me back on, giving me a minute to get the folks all caught up on the latest and greatest.
Yeah, man. No, I can't believe it's been a year already, dude. This time is flying by so fast. I mean, we're in like March of 2026. I'm still writing 2025 on checks and stuff still. It's going by too fast. But as fast as we think things are going by, today, the whole purpose of this episode is kind of retrospect into this call to action that we had about a year ago, last May, when we recorded this episode. And then, that was based off the article that is actually up for the Golden Quill Award with C&R. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But when we recorded that last episode, that conversation, even though some of it was reality of the time, some of it did feel a little theoretical, right? We were looking ahead of I think back then you're like, dude, this is going to be months. It might be a year before this gets to play out the way you think it is. How does it feel now? Are we starting to see this play out like you said?
Man, the only thing that I was wrong about was the time. It's lightning fast. I did say that it was going to be quick. I had no idea how quick. Yeah. Claims management systems and claims management models, they evolved. They had injected, tons and tons of capital into them, and development speeds up when you've got that kind of money behind you. And there's just we had no idea of how fast these things were going to blow up. That was the one thing that we were off on. I think I gave it till December in that last episode. And I think it was like in June, 2 months later after that episode, that we really started seeing interference from claims management systems. It's been a wild ride since then, too. I've even had a chance to sit down with a few of these management systems and their admin staff and talk with them. And I can tell you that it's not going to slow down either. It's still the pedals all the way down over there. They have a mission, and they're balls to the wall trying to get there.
Yeah, and they got money, right? Like you mentioned in the beginning. So when you wrote that article last year, and then we talked about it on the podcast, what kind of reaction did you get from the restoration industry in general at that time? Because I know, listen, this is how, actually, it's funny. This is how I met you, because I got just this random email out of the blue with everybody. Michelle Blevins on there, Andy McCabe was on there, all these bunch of people that I've interacted with over, and then this guy that's like, guys, we've got to get this out there to everybody. And I don't know how you even got my contact info. I'm so glad you did. And now we got you on, and we're having you on. I think this is like the third time you've been here, but what kind of reaction were you getting from the industry when you started sounding the alarm back then?
You know, immediately the industry did take notice and did start listening to me. They put me on the on a tech panel at RIA as soon as like at the following convention. I've done a ton of stuff with the RIA since then, and with Verisk since then, and with a bunch of other companies in our ecosystem since then. It all kind of started here. I mean, people were listening before, but not as many and not as wide of an audience, right? I could tell the people I knew here in Colorado, some of my restorer friends across the country, and keep them abreast to it. But this was the first platform I ever had to speak to a lot of people at one time, man. And it really did. It blew the message up, and that's exactly what needed to happen with this particular topic, is we had to call immediate attention and do something about it right away. And this podcast was literally the jump off point that helped me to be able to spread this message to many more people at a much more accelerated rate, man. So kudos to you too, brother. This is where it all started. I mean, I've spoken at many conventions now. I've been to all kinds of companies all over the country. I consult with people now. I do all kinds of different things. And it all started with this podcast. Was the first time anybody outside that email chain got wind of what I was worried about, what I was talking about, what I was experiencing. And it's interesting now, because now at least once a week I get a sample message sent to me, and there people are like, is this one of these AI systems? Am I, how should I best respond, and all this type of thing. And I love being a resource for everybody in the whole industry. This QR code that's right here on the computer screen right there, you guys scan that. That's all my information in there, man. Let's work. I have no problem with sharing knowledge and being a resource for the industry. Platforms like this and podcasts like this, it just help spread that message, man.
Yeah, and listen, as much as I'd love to take all the credit, I mean, me with my fives of followers, which is funny. Side note, I have no idea how many people subscribe. I never look at the numbers, because I never want that to skew the content or the people that come on the podcast. So I appreciate that sentiment. But really, the reason I think that this has blown up so much, man, I'm going to throw it back in your lap, because there's a rare, no pun intended, there's a rare amount of people in this industry, in most industries, that you're going to deal with, that actually genuinely give a crap and want to do the right thing for the greater good and for people in general. And I think that the fact that you position yourself to where you're open yourself up for helping everybody, I can't even imagine the amount of time you've put into the research, developing the things that you're working on that we'll get into later on, and just answering these questions, making yourself available at these conventions. Like I saw you over in West Palm in my backyard at RIA, saw some of your tech panel there about all this. So really the onus has to go on you, man. This is all you, buddy. If I can ever get a message out for somebody that's helping people, that's what we're here for. And that's why I think we get along so well, because that's the reason that I do this. You know, it's not for the numbers. It's not for views, subscribers, anything like that. I get zero out of doing these podcasts outside of learning for myself and then helping these people out there, whoever may be listening out there in the world or watching this on YouTube, helping shorten the learning curve, help them do their business right. And now with this, something so huge is it's going to change the face of this industry from our conversations. Like, no, I don't think anybody even realizes. So let's reverse a little bit. And I do want one more question. I know I talked about the response in the industry. Did you ever get any responses from anybody in the insurance or technology pushing back on any of this stuff since you put that out there?
Pushing back on the narrative that we've been doing? No. Point of fact, I've had people from their side support and ask for input on it as well. At Elevate, I was kind of blessed. I didn't know who she was yet. I hadn't seen her speak yet. I'd never seen a picture of her yet or anything else like that. But I ended up sitting next to Grace Hansen, the CEO of Allevion. We've been saying it Elysian for this whole time. Everywhere your first podcast, I've been calling it Elysian. It is in fact called Elysian, like the Elysian Forest. And I've talked with this lady now. I just happened to sit down at a lunch table with her at Elevate, and she had her name tag on, explaining exactly who she was right there. And I was like, this is fate. You know what I mean? So I took advantage of the opportunity and asked her at least 50 questions, and she didn't shy away from one. They are absolutely confident in their approach to the claims atmosphere. They've taken in the fact that restoration is a job that has to be performed in the property and casualty insurance lines, and they have a lot of factors that make some sense, and they're going to be harder for us to combat without a similar level of tool. That's all that there is to it. That lady is an absolute monster. She is a genius in her field. She's been in the insurance space her entire career, and as technology progressed, so did her knowledge of it. And now she's got, at her helm, the most powerful tool in our industry, no matter what side of the ball you're looking at. It is the most powerful tool that's out there right now, as far as an AI engine, and they position themselves as a AI TPA.
Wow.
That's what they call themselves, is an artificial intelligence third-party administrator. That's their own language.
Wow.
If that alone doesn't scare the pants off of restorers out there, I'm not sure what show you guys are watching, but you might want to get in the game with the rest of us here, because it's going to be different here real soon. And I mean, we got to talk about, we're going to start somewhere. Let's start here, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what's actually changing restoration right now. It's not the drying equipment. It's not pricing updates. It's not the labor. It's not the new labor quantifier from Verisk. And it's not just like AI as a buzzword, right? It's an actual software stack that's being used, right? It's the stack of softwares that companies on both sides of the ball have, whether you're a restoration company or an insurer, right? And I've been all over the country. Like a few weeks ago, I was at Elevate, and then immediately following that, I was at the Stampede speaking to Belfour and Blue Kangaroo Packouts on the same topic. And I keep being amazed by the same thing, that everywhere I go, I keep hearing the same rumor, if you will, that the carriers are going to be slow to adopt AI. Oh. Guys, it's wrong. It's wrong, guys. This is the wildest statement I've heard all year. They are funding the development of these advanced tools. They are the ones putting money in the middle of the table to try to advance themselves. Okay, and there's clear goals in this. I mean, they're looking to be able to machine review your claims. They want to automate as much as possible so that they can have less human interaction, create more power out of an adjuster, rather than just burn them out by throwing a million claims out. They've seen that model fail now. We've all seen that model fail now as restorers. How many of us cycled in a new restorer a new adjuster every 2 months or whatever? And these types of things are what they're using artificial intelligence systems for. They're streamlining their operations. They're making things happen, and so they're training these tools and learning in machine learning systems to make decisions. That's where it gets kind of sketchy for us, right? Because they've already been using advanced claim systems now for just about an entire year. Right about since we first started talking about this was when I first started hearing about the interjection of AI written rebuttals in claims handling. And it immediately captured my attention, because I'm also a technologist at heart, and at my other company we create agentic AI tools, chatbots, and things like this. We're a large language model certificate holder. We've got a bunch of different things that we've worked on for other companies and created over the years. So this immediately captured my attention, because it was something that I was wondering, like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to come? And then it hit like an anvil on a hammer, just bang. And we're all here now, stuck in the middle between. And if we don't do something about it, we're just going to get flattened, along with our profit margins, our communication times, our cycle times, and everything else. Machine learning is going to be set up to only read a certain kind of file. And if you're not capable of producing that kind of file, you're going to be in real big trouble here. And this is a thing that like last time when I was like, oh, we might be seeing more of this by December. This time, brother, we might be seeing this, by Friday, dude.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it can be that fast. AI is teaching itself now while we're all asleep, while all the coders who are inventing all these systems are getting their beauty sleep. The AI systems are learning at rapid pace. They're ingesting hundreds of thousands of terabytes overnight, and it's just insane the amount of learning that can be done when you train a system to do so. Now, if you put the guardrails on it, then you're in control of a system. And if a claim runs through that type of thing, you can have some real serious problems with outcome, especially if you're missing something or don't have some decision that you made clearly explained in the narrative, the notes, or an executive summary. That's a big deal, man. Yeah. And whether we like it or not, these tools are going to be what decides how claims get routed, how fast they get routed, what gets questioned, what gets delayed, and what gets paid. There's not going to be any other route to it. It's
inevitable. You think about it from their perspective too, just to jump back a little bit. I mean, if you can, let's just say this process saves 2 hours per claim, right? At scale. Think about the billions of dollars that they're going to be able to keep. Now, think alternative, because we know it's going to save a lot more than 2 hours per claim. The money that they have behind this, dude. And I guess the inception of it is just like, we're gonna make a lot of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, one of the best movies ever created. We're gonna make a lot of references there. And also, if we're watching this episode or when this goes live, if a Terminator comes back and takes out either one of us, that this shit is real and you need to get on it right now. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. I don't know anybody out there that hasn't seen it yet. My son's coming of age. I think last year he just turned 11. We watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's important, but I say that to say that the inception of it is for time. They're saving money. How are we going to get this, improve this, automate it? Which is what most people are using AI for. But right now, and I know when we first talked a year ago, what all your chat bots were doing is you were having them argue back and forth with them all day long and learning. But what do you think on that vein? And I think I know where you're going to go with this, but what's the biggest risk right now that these guys got to be thinking about outside of what you've already talked about? Are we teaching this AI? Are these contractors teaching AI how to further just shut them down?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our rebuttals are definitely being fed back through the system, especially the people that write good rebuttals. If you write those doctorate level rebuttals, yours are definitely being recycled into the system to try to find a loophole in for the next guy that tries it, right?
Yeah.
We're an industry that's relied for decades on tribal knowledge, right? And that tribal knowledge has shifted and can shift depending on which franchise organization you're with, for instance. Like, let's take the 3-day tryout, for instance. That is tribal knowledge, right? And this type of stuff has taken off and passed down through generations now. It's not necessarily backed by standard. It's not necessarily actual and factual on every single site or structure that you may encounter, right?
Yeah.
But it is something that's known. People know that, So that's the tribal knowledge stuff that we got to get away from. We've got to get away from doing that. We are teaching these systems how to be better. We are teaching these systems how to be smarter. And we taught these systems how to quantify labor and production rates and things like that. We are still continuing to teach these systems production rates and labor quantification so that realized efficiencies can be reflected in pricing models, to be specific, right? So I'd say the biggest problem that we have, though, as a contractor, the thing we need to do the most is pay attention. We need to start doing something. We need to stop thinking that the carriers are going to be slow to adopt AI. We need to stop purveying that message. We need to stop telling people in conventions and in passing in these big events. I mean, there was thousands of people, and they're all sitting here. And I heard it so many times. Well, the carriers, they're going to be slow to adopt AI. Every time I kick people, stop saying that. Stop. It's terrible. They are the ones that are going to be the first to the door with the most powerful tools. It's already proven. Yeah. They are already the first ones in the door. They do already have the most powerful tools. And we as an industry need to start paying attention, start utilizing AI in our own workflows to achieve greater output from one human, right? No matter what the level of human, from technician all the way to AR, all the way to ownership, guys. Every single role in the company can be augmented by introducing some manner of AI workflow into the system. Okay, there is some mundane task that every single member of your staff, including you owners, are out there doing right now that can be automated for you. Okay, if you haven't seen Clogbot, look at these tools. We have things out there. There's things out there on the market that we can use for our own benefit. Gemini for the Gmail users. Combine that with NotebookLM. You'll never need to take notes or have to wonder what happened in a podcast or a meeting or whatever you're in ever again. That thing can watch all the meetings for you too. You don't got to sit there and wait for the videos. You could already have a transcription at the end of this one. There's so many different tools that are out there that are on sale for you to use, for the general public to use. And I encourage you guys to start interacting with some of these things, because they can literally win you your time back. That's a big deal for restoration, guys. Trust me, that's one I know intricately. The time is the only resource that we can't get more of. There's no more time, we can literally make more of anything else, but we can't get more time. And these are tools that actually help you win back your time. They give you more ability to be more creative, more involved in your company, more working on the business instead of in the business. And then that can work at every single role. Your AR person. What if you could automate every single invoice that goes out? You can You can automate every single invoice that goes out. What if you could automate every single rebuild estimate that your company writes? You can. The company's called Rebuild. Call them. They would love to work with you. You can do so many things right now inside of our space, inside of our industry, that people are not taking advantage of these things, and they're going to get whooped by the machines who have the time to write research level papers in rebuttal to your estimates and give you labor quantifiers that don't necessarily meet your site conditions. These are all things that are going to get jammed down our throat if we don't start doing something now. And it can't just be tech panels. It can't just be talks at conventions. There has to be actual modality. There has to, I mean, dude, I love being able to share the message, and everybody that's ever been on these panels always is very, very, like, they're the most talented people in the room, right? And I shouldn't even be up there most times. I'm not a public speaker. I've realized that with all the speaking that I've been doing, I am not a public speaker. Restoration guy, technologist, I know this shit. I do know these things, right? I can't be talked down out of most of these realms because I have a strong understanding. Sure. Public speaking is a new thing for me. And when I get on those panels and stuff, it's hard to stand up there sometimes with so many super intelligent people that I look up to, right? The people whose works I've read for years and modeled my company after and done all kinds of things about, right? It's hard to be up there and try to take the spotlight because I want to talk about AI for a minute, right? We need to have more, if we're going to be doing talks like these at conventions, there needs to be solid artificial intelligence only breakouts. Like, this is what has happened. Yeah. And not even have them be like a moderated thing. Have an expert standing in the room and answer everybody's questions. Show sources, teach people how to get their time back, teach people the systems that can help them to win. And to avoid losing, because that is going to become a big deal. The more these machine learning systems are being taught guardrails by the carrier side of things, it's not going to get easier to be a restorer, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. The reality is every claim has two audiences now. Well, three. You've always had the adjuster, you've always had the customer, but now you've got the machine. And the machine doesn't care how hard the job was, if you got up in the middle of the night for it or if you drove far away for it. The machine doesn't care if the elevators don't work and you had to haul the equipment upstairs. The machine doesn't care if you had to wake a guy up and get him out of bed, and that takes more time, and at 11 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, nobody's as fast as they are at 8 a.m. You know what I mean? So it doesn't take into account those things. So instead, it looks for file structure, the complete, consistent, easy timeline. So it has to be able to really simply, determine why you made the decisions that you made. You took the floor because it was wet, that sort of thing. Monitors, meter reading says wet, floor's gone because wet. All that makes sense to the machine, right? But what they're going to do then is validate those against historic production rate values. And then we're going to start getting preset loss expectancies and estimates that go over that via custom price list, via estimate methodology or estimator skill or whatever other X factor you want to throw at that statement, right? No matter what that ends up being, we're all going to end up being the victim of those caps. There's going to be almost an automatic appraisal, let's call it, right? And if you're within that line, then you fit. If you're out of that line, you're going to go into a queue. Wait for the human. And the human's going to get to you when they get to you. Probably won't be anytime soon because their easier jobs are just clickety click, pay this one, pay that one, pay this one. If he's got to make a phone call, you already know how hard it is to get the adjusters to make a phone call, guys. Like it's not in the cards, If your documentation is messy, it doesn't matter how good you did the job. It doesn't matter how good you did the job. If the documentation comes in messy through the machine, you're going into this queue. It's not going to be a good time. If you got clean documentation and you can move your narrative all the way through from start to finish of the job, whether it's on the mitigation or the reconstruction side, then you should be able to have a pretty smooth transition through the machines. You shouldn't have any red flags that are going to trigger the human interaction, and you won't end up dying in the queue waiting for somebody to call you. That's the new battleground. That's where we're at. That's where we're really at right now. Clean file reading, machine-readable files, and documentation that literally backs up what you did. And guys, there's, we have all of our documentation and psychometric platforms out there. We've got our clean claims. We've got our Encircles. We've got all the other companies that are out there, that produce psychometric documentation. is their report, or is the output of their reports currently readable by AI? That's a question you should probably be asking yourself, because if not, you might want to think about another provider that might be able to do a little bit more machine learning for you, because otherwise every single file you produce is going to end up in limbo.
Yeah, I mean, man, there's so much to this, and I think I want to go back to something you touched on the conventions, right? Feel however you feel about conventions. You know, I've got my opinions on everything, but one of the things that I've always spoke about is having more more intentional. You know, you mentioned breakouts, right? So I think there could be, you know, from a marketing perspective. I mean, I get up on stage at Experience or RIA and I give a spiel for an hour, and it's like, so it's hard to pack, you know, a lifetime worth of experience and things into an hour when there's so much nuance in between it. So I was just speaking with another gentleman, a friend of mine in the industry, Jason Gilstrap, and we were talking about perhaps maybe getting some sort of convention like this that's more intensive, a day of AI, a day of marketing, a day of billing, and every little nuance in between to really give somebody a real snapshot of what it's going to take, because all of us are kind of built the same way, right? We're gonna get all this overflow of information drinking out of a fire hose, and we're gonna implement a few things. Like, you know, for instance, now we talk about AI, we talk about getting back your time, you talk about automating processes, and then we talk about this big elephant in the room right now is that these insurance agencies are implementing these large language models, the machine, we'll call it, Skynet, however you want to mention it. So where do you think out of those, you know, I guess I kind of already know the information here is that the people are being naive about how quick they're adopting it, but let's talk about something actionable then. You've mentioned them multiple times, like you've got to get involved, you've got to be aware. Great. All right. We're involved. We're aware. We're here listening. You know, we're reading your article. We're checking you out of the text. And so what are we talking about? Getting involved and being aware. How are we going to do this? How is the industry going to come together to ensure that you've built some sort of level of protection, some sort of sphere of standards, maybe that it might be, right? What are we getting at here with it, with getting involved?
I love your idea of a convention that is solely focused, like a day for this, a day for that, on the topics that are actually affecting the restoration industry.
A real workshop, like a real workshop. Here's how we're going to do it. Real examples, real experts answering questions, not selling a product.
How many times can you hear somebody tell you to sell plumbers? How many times can you know what I mean? Can you listen to somebody tell you about, you know, creating positive sales teams and stuff like this, right?
Right.
So these are all topics that I believe, as an industry, we all have our own opinion, modality, and even standard operating procedure on, right? I don't know too many guys that have a standard operating procedure on their digital marketing. I don't know too many guys that have a standard operating procedure on how they interact with AI at a company level. I don't know. I mean,
technology in general, right? You know, I've got my site development company, and I feel like we're in a stone age compared to this, because I'm trying to wrap my brain around how we're gonna make the two things work together. And it starts, right, when I talk about prioritizing where it's gonna start with getting time back, right? Because that's the first thing that you really need to be able to do to free yourself up to identify these other gaps. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's not a lot of technology being you know, you kind of stick your head in the sand. I guess that's why these conventions have, you know, these vendors that are coming out there and like, let us just handle this for you. So instead of having a machine handle it for you, you have a company offloading it that you can't hold really accountable, besides jumping around from company to company, I guess.
There's a lot of AI tools too in digital marketing right now. A buddy of mine has one. I'll send you when we get off the air here. I'll send you his info. Automatically keywording. So it's taking your keyword list and reinforcing it every month, negativing everything that you don't want, and then it writes keyword rich posting for GBP.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, that used to be a human centric task, right? That took an SEO person their time, you know, to go and do that.
You're talking about multiple people for just being on the agency side. I mean, I've got 4 people that only deal with SEO from content. You know, we're leveraging AI to make these things happen. We still have the human touch here and there because there's a lot of nuance in between. But yeah, man, we've seen where we've got to have, you know, let's say we have a 10 location restoration company that we know we're up against as far as their placement on Google, or organic or Google business profile, whatever it may be. We need to produce 5 pieces of content per location 2 times a month. That's a lot of writing. And we used to have writers that would be doing that. And it's changed the game. Now that team of 10 goes down to a team of 3, potentially, and maybe even a team of no one eventually. Sorry, team.
Either way, I mean, no, AI is not gonna AI. I don't remember where I first heard this one, but I keep saying this to people in the industry too. AI is not here to take your job; it's here to make you better at your job. But if you don't learn AI, you might lose your job. You know what I mean? At least as somebody who knows how to use AI.
Yeah.
Right. With marketing, tools like that, right, can free up the human to do more creative tasks, right?
Yes.
We all know that Google Pro has its best practices as well. So you can abide by those practices. And Google has made it, pretty abundantly clear that they still want human marketing. They don't want automatic marketing.
Right. They're doing that in different ways now. I mean, I think they gave up on the AI stuff where they're scanning, obviously, unless it's completely blatant, but their whole entire algorithm now has changed significantly in the last 4 or 5 months because of this. They are looking for, I mean, again, to go back to it, they're looking for more reviews that are specific to the type of work. They want you to line up with clarity, meaning we are here, this is what we do here, where you used to have a page for every single service you provide, recon, fire, flood. Well, if you really want water damage, then that site has to be based off that. Every review you have has to line up with that. Your responses have to line up with that. Now their AI are removing any review. They call it generic ones because they call them spam. But if they're not mentioning a specific type of service that you did, and it's a little bit generic, even if it's great, like, hey, Rare Restoration came in here and did a fantastic job, boom, they're flagging those and they're taking them down. Yep. And so they're getting more specific. And I think that's the way they've been combating it. I always, kind of like what you did when you kind of set the alarm, I think a couple of years ago with this coming up in the marketing, I said, video is going to be huge. Video proof of loss, of you handling loss over and over and over and over again is going to be what is going to differentiate you. I don't care how much SEO you're doing. You're going to need reviews and you're going to need backup somehow. And that was the only thing in my little tiny brain that I could think of that would be, all right, well, this is going to be hard to replicate from some automated tool, right? Well, now it's not. So it's not getting there yet. So let's go back. Let's switch gears and go back to the whole thing with the insurance and the claims process and stuff like that. What can we do about it, right? What do we need to see the industry move towards, and collective, light the torches up and kind of raise them up in the air? And how do you see this going? And in a perfect world, what do you think is going to happen here to help mitigate this and maybe make something that's mutually beneficial, right? Which is, the scale is always going to be tilted one way or the other. It is right now, right? Past TPA stuff and dealing with adjusters. Blockbuster thought that Netflix was never going to be come about, and guess what? There's one left, I think, if it's even still out there. So what can we do?
I think a strong point that you made was, what can we do to kind of interfere with the process of it, right? With how it's coming down through it.
Yeah.
I think that probably the best way for us to get on a positive track is going to be to start paying attention to what's happening around us, right? So let's give it some history and idea behind it. Okay, so the carrier management systems, the CMMs and the CMS systems that are out there, right? Two more popular ones that if you don't know these names, you should probably know these names. Guidewire made a creation called Claim Center. That's one that you interact with a ton. And then another one that you guys in the North especially are seeing is Duck Creek Claims. You should definitely know these names because they are literally in control right now of cycle time, consistency, and they've got a financial control over the claim, right? These are not craftsmanship-based tools. These are not tools based in field reality. They don't care that every individual structure presents its own challenge.
Right.
So they put up these kind of workflow gates, right? Where if you're missing a document or you've got an incomplete package, your photos aren't labeled, your timeline doesn't make sense, there's no clear causation narrative, all those things can just get the file flagged for a human review. These are all things that are going to take the time. Make no mistake, going back to your point earlier, this will be sold. And almost enforced, let's call it, to us, right? This will be told to us because if you proceed in this and you participate in this and you do all the stuff like you're supposed to, you'll speed up your cycle times. Now, in theory, that should be true. And as we all know, collections is a major issue. Timeline to cycle for collections is a major issue right now. And anything that we can do to speed that up is going to be appealing and attractive to the restorer. That is the sole selling point that they will use to cram the Terminator into our universe. They will, like, guarantee you that's how. Well, guys, we do it this way. We're averaging payments in 30 days or less. You do it the old way. Yeah, you do it the old way. It could be like 6 months before we find a file.
Right.
That's how we'll start participating. They'll sell the larger groups first. The larger groups will filter down to the smaller groups. Eventually, every independent in the country will be on the same train in order to hopefully speed up their cycle times. Now, in a perfect world, that is exactly the goal. In a perfect world, that would be the end goal, right? But make no mistake that these systems are in place to do something, right? So the job file is either going to move forward automatically or it's going to be routed to an exception file. Now, one thing that I want to talk about that I see completely underutilized, and I mean, in fact, even not utilized by a ton of even larger, smaller companies that I interact with. Guys, put an executive summary in front of your estimate package. You've all seen carrier estimates, how they come out with where this is an explanation of why we're screwing you and all the stuff, right? Put your explanation of why your estimate is so high into your cover. That gives the machine exactly what you want it to have in order to produce what you're hoping is a favorable decision that agrees with your estimate. If you're not doing an executive summary, and I am talking to a lot of you, okay? I'm talking to a lot of you here. If you're not using an executive summary in your estimate package, you are missing something. And it is something that will drastically help you as the interjection of AI becomes part of these systems. It can already help you to explain to a human adjuster why you did what you did and how you did what you did. It doesn't take very long to scribble one down. And I know the time it takes to produce an estimate is an overhead concern for all of us, but at the same time, the time it takes to produce an estimate and then have ChatGPT or something scribble you down an executive summary that you can copy and paste, fast, real fast. To do something like that.
Yeah, right.
And that is one singular piece, right, that can drastically make a difference already in the way that your files are being taken in by the adjuster. But as machines start to take in your files, that executive summary is going to become all but mandatory. And I assure you that that's another prediction we can make right here, live on the Ironclad, right here on Ben Riccardi's podcast. There is no way that the executive summary doesn't become mandatory as part of this AI sweep. It's not, there's no way around it, right? So that's where we have to be aligned. That's where we have to start creating machine-ready packets. This is the step that you guys can all employ right now, no matter how big or small of an organization you come from. If you're not putting executive summaries in your estimate packets, you're losing. You're losing and you're missing out big.
Yeah, and it all seems like common sense, dude. It's like as convoluted and scary or whatever you want to call with these changes that are coming. If you realize, take AI out of the picture. Look at just what happens with any big corporation with a call center. Call your cable company if you got your internet out, or call we're down here in Florida, call Xfinity and see how long it takes you to get somebody to answer the phone. We got a wire hanging in your driveway. Now multiply that by 1 million, and your net, and you talk about your claims process going through the roof as far as time to get paid. Every little step of the way looks great for them, and it's not going to look good for you. So if you're listening to this, or you hear this, things are moving, they're moving fast. All this stuff might be implemented by Friday, like Doug said. So I want to look ahead a little bit, Doug. And, so far you're batting 100, dude. You're batting 1,000. You've been right on. I'm not even going to penalize you for the timeline that you put into it, because you were the only one talking about it a year ago, a little bit, actually just about a year ago now. And you were right. It just happened a lot quicker. And I think, just being the layman here, when it comes to this type of technology, it's only going to go faster and faster and faster. I'm just seeing things rapidly change in the marketing space. I'm seeing things change in automation space. There's just the vibe coding generations coming through, dude. Things are changing. And, much like MySpace, much like Blockbuster, dude, if you don't adapt, you're going to die. So let's look ahead to next year, next March. If we're recording another episode next March, which I hope the hell we are, What do you think is going to change by then?
Brother, we're going to be in the thick of it by this time.
Are we riding around in hoverboards? And
as far as how restoration claims are going to go, I would say that, yeah, man. And I don't think it's going to be sold to us slow. I think it's going to be enforced with things like faster cycle times, easier jobs,
right.
You know, more simplified package deliveries and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. It's like spoonful of sugar, man, to help the medicine go down, right? They're gonna
exactly.
Yeah.
There'll be systems out there like Allevion, and they'll be the ones that are dictating your costs. And if your line item usage has one word of definition that's utilized in another definition that you've got, then the odds of it being denied by a system like that are very good. You're going to have to start over justifying simplistic things. I think in the early days of this, you're going to have to really spend a lot of time. And if you're doing that justification manually by typing a reply back to the system, I mean, that might not be the best use of your time, no matter what you do in the whole wide world, no matter what you have for hobbies or anything. I don't think that typing back to the AI systems is going to be a great use of anybody's.
Here, try this. Anybody listening to this, go on ChatGPT just on a basic thing and type in something and have them spit you out a 1,500 word article on anything you can think of in a matter of a second. Now think about a rebuttal that you sent, or you send over some sort of back and forth with the claim, and how quickly they're going to just hit you right back with no, no thanks, no. You know, you got to get these tools. So Doug, talking about tools, what are a few things like right now, just to kind of get that time back that you're utilizing, that guys can kind of take away, or ladies can take away from this, start implementing in their business? That's not going to be like, you know, trying to learn rocket science, something that's going to be a little more intuitive for some of us blue collar guys out there that might not have a lot of technical expertise, but it might be a game changer for them on their day to day.
2-minute technician, the restoration estimator, and claims assist for contractors are all free GPTs that I had. I'll get you the QR codes for those too, so we can toss those in.
Yeah, we'll throw those in the show notes. I think if you guys also want to go back to the episode a year ago with Doug and I think we did share those QR codes in that episode. So if you feel like, if you don't believe that Doug's been calling this out for a long time, you want to go check it out, you'll also get a couple really cool GPTs that he put together.
They're all free still, man.
Yeah,
they're all free. Awesome, they've all been updated with all the modern GPT tools. So now they can see your pictures. They can delineate damage from photos. Still can't quite do the 3D spatial scans just yet. Not on GPT, but I got another something coming for that, man.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. But we're gonna save that as a cliffhanger, man, because I got
LiveSwitch too, man. LiveSwitch can help guys change the way they do FNOL. Guys, LiveSwitch, if you haven't taken a demo over there yet, James and my boys over there, they're doing a great job. Okay, they've got a phenomenal product. With what we can do here for you is when the call comes in, you can send your customer a text message. They open up that text message, they walk around the damage area, show you what it is. No matter if it's a basement, a bedroom, or a building, it gets, the whole thing gets captured via video calling. Okay, behind the video calling, there's an extremely powerful and smart AI engine that's trained how you want it to be to notice what you want it to notice. If you want it to notice general cleanliness, colors of walls, where the damage is, all these types of things, this AI engine can publish you doctorate level notation that you can now arm your guys with. So instead of guessing how many fans you need to bring or how many trucks you need to send, you can give your technicians this note that comes directly out of the call instantly. As soon as the call is over with, you have a note about everything that was there.
No, I think it's amazing. So we don't, we're on our 11th year of Ironclad restoration marketing as a digital agency for the restoration industry. I've never taken the step to partner with or really promote anything ever until I got in touch with James from LiveSwitch, and I saw the potential selfishly of what it could do for my clients, because we can get you #1 on Google all day. I mean, it's what we're really good at. We can get you ranked in the map section. We can get your LSA up there, top 3 all day long. I don't care what territory you're in. My team here, I'm more than confident in it. But being able to get to that person right away with that text message, that QR code. However, I mean, I've even seen some of our customers were trying to get set up with live switch, guys putting door hangers on after a storm and after everything's done and cleaned up. Like, listen, next year, keep this magnet on your refrigerator, scan this if you have damage. But think about that, everything that you just mentioned, Doug, and then also the ability to send an estimate right off the bat. So from a marketer like me, when I'm looking at somebody with whether it's just talking about a residential home or they got catastrophic property damage, they've got a guy that's on FaceTime taking, listen, we've seen this type of loss a million times. Nothing to worry about. You can map out everything that's there. You can make these people, pull them down off that high sense of emotion that they're probably in at the time. And instead of racing there to show up and beat the next guy, you've already got them sold, signed, sealed, deliver. And from what James said, you can even produce an estimate to them right off the bat and have that whole process done in a matter of minutes. And I think it's a game changer. We wouldn't be promoting it. We wouldn't be partnering with them if I didn't really believe in it. So take it from Doug, dude. He's in the trenches. He runs a restoration company, dude. He knows when, and I know that he's not somebody that's just going to throw things out there either. So yeah, if you haven't taken the opportunity, I've got a link in the show notes for this. I've done a few videos on it lately, especially with those winter storms coming through, just to show you how this is a game changer. Again, like all the other technologies out there, dude, don't put your head in the sand and just think that one, the big one is everybody's going to be slow to adopt this. I got time for it. You don't got time for it. You don't have time. What you do and should have time for is implementing things like this, tools that like Doug's chatbots that he put together, and all the things that he's putting out there for absolutely free to buy back your time. And whether it's to, improve your business or, man, just spend some time with your family. Take that 3 hours you'd be writing an estimate and writing this statement and go throw a football for your son or your daughter or whatever the case may be. But man, you got to really take this back to the genesis of why you're a business owner, dude, and why you're even really doing anything if you're not going to pick these things up and implement it, because it's coming whether you like it or not. If you haven't seen or noticed from what Doug's been talking about this entire episode, you're not going to be able to escape it. And who's going to win? It's going to be the insurance companies. They're going to be controlling your pricing. They're going to be controlling your jobs. All you guys out there that hate TPA work, I guess, listen to this very carefully, because it may all end up turning into that if this doesn't go. If you guys don't go start getting involved and educate yourself, leverage guys like Doug and everything he's doing out there, man. And there's a lot of people out there like Doug that are really just trying to change the game, help everybody out. Because it is for the greater good. So all you conference attendees, whatever your clubs you want to get together, man, let's start really talking about moving the industry forward. I think that's the buzzword that goes forward. I think the only person that's moving it forward, or the only people moving it forward right now, are these big companies, and it's not going to be for your benefit.
No, the squeeze has already been on all you independent restoration guys out there. You already feel the squeeze. I know you feel the squeeze because I'm an independent restoration guy right now, and I feel the squeeze. It's out there. Okay. And if we don't adopt, we are sure to fail. If we come to a point where we're talking about TPA, make no mistake, guys, your Westlakes, your Alacrities, these guys are in a shift or die modality right now. They don't have a choice. With programs like Allevion out there, they are no longer needed as companies. Okay, this software here bankrupts their business model at a fundamental level, period, and does not require human to do so. Okay, make no mistake, guys, TPA is going to change. Okay, going back and circling back on Allevion, I promised her that I was going to do this because I've talked a lot of shit about her company, but Grace is an absolute boss. Their system is the most elegant AI model that's in restoration right now, and it's on the other side of the ball, boys. Okay, it's on the other side of the ball. They're running it down our throat, and we do not know how to defend. We are not able to defend right now. Okay, these models are common. Her model is commonly used, and I mean commonly used, by carriers that you interact with on a daily basis. Okay, it's getting stronger while Ben and I sit here talking about it. As we're talking about it right now, it's probably being able to multiply its capability in an actual multiplier fashion. Okay, it's going to enforce at a general system. Okay, it does work day in and day out to enforce lower payouts, especially for unjustified items, and it will push increased efficiency rates. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about why this system was created or what its modality is. If you ever happen to see Mrs. Hanson anywhere in public, you pull that lady over, because she is one of the most open book human beings I've ever met in my life. She was very clear with me about why their product was in demand, why it had to be created, how many people's jobs and lives in the entire industry that it has an effect on.
Yeah.
When you
got to get her on the podcast, dude. Let's do roundtable. Let's go.
Bro,
there's nobody I can think of that can ask questions like you when it comes to this stuff, man. I
got her email too, man. She was the nicest lady, man. And it was just, I can't describe it as anything other than fate, bro. I sat down at I was eating lunch and I sat down at a table, usually with those, if I'm not walking with somebody or already talking, I'm just going to sit down. If somebody wants to come and talk to me, they'll come sit next to me. I just happened to sit with this lady, and I looked at her name tag and I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me right now. I mean, just, dude, it blew my mind.
That's how God works, brother. That's how it works, dude.
And I even told her, I said, ma'am, I have bad mouthed your product to Kingdom Coming Back. And I want to tell you right now that you have my apologies for that. Yeah. Okay. Because I see what you did here. I see what its purpose was. And I see that you're trying to win your particular game.
Right. Just what do you think? I just did, for some of this stuff. And it's like, it's crazy to me to think, like, going back to the beginning and we're talking, that people are even that naive to think that this isn't coming. Like, everything that you've ever done in your business. Well, look, we'll talk about your paperwork and your documentation. Like, everybody raised their hand out there that hasn't heard, like, you need to make sure you have good documentation. That was when people were looking at it that had emotion, not when Terminator was looking at it ready to just shut you down. So again, all of this stuff, and it's cool how all this kind of goes back to the human condition of just get your shit together, do this stuff right, and get involved, get out there, start utilizing some of these tools, and we'll go. But we definitely need to have her on here, man, and ask her some questions. And maybe that'll scare people a little bit more than your article. And speaking of which, dude, you're up for the Golden Quill Award for C&R Magazine for your article, The Letter to the Editor. I threw a link up for anybody who's watching this on YouTube. Dude, go read it. And if it's not something that you think that you need to be going, Doug deserves to have some more visibility with this thing. That's talking about getting involved. That's one way to do it. Having him get that award on stage at RIA, I believe in Savannah this year, which I'm hoping to make it to. I've got a due date of a baby that's really interfering with my social life here. So I'm not sure if I'll be up there in Savannah. My team will be there from Ironclad. We have a booth up there at the convention, but yeah, dude, I hope you do well. The article's awesome. It is on cnrmagazine.com. It's called Letter to the Editor. We have a big problem. I'll include that in the show notes as well, so people can check it out, and then go vote for Doug and connect with Doug. Doug, how do people get in touch with you in case they're too lazy to go back and listen to the episode from a year ago and get those QR codes?
They can scan that QR code in the blue monitor.
Another QR code. Yep, yeah, QR codes, dude. It's so easy. Pull your phone out. Not while you're driving. If you're listening while you're driving, just do it at home.
And I mean, go read every single article that's up.
I agree. Yes.
This year. There are some amazing topics discussed by some of the the most highest regarded experts in our industry. And everybody has a very interesting point. I would appreciate a vote for AI and more recognition for it, because it shows the RIA and other folks that see that type of thing that this is a concern. This is something that we as an industry are actively pursuing. But every single article that Michelle has up for the Golden Quill this year is a phenomenal piece by a phenomenal person who has done measurable things for our industry. And it's an honor just to be on the list with some of these guys. Like, I've read all of these people's works for years. Some of them I modeled some of their companies. I modeled my own company after, when it became my turn to make the rules. Right. I am blessed to be positioned in the area that I am right now. Every single one of those articles is great. AI needs attention.
I agree. And that's it. Yeah. Listen, I got a deal I want to make with you though. I agree. Also, like Chris's article, Andy's articles, I was taking a look at them today, and it's like some of the stuff I've read before, but you kind of, things happen and you forget about it, man. There were some heavy hitters you're up there with, dude. And kudos to you, because I want people to vote for this, because I think this is something that is going to be, I know that this is something that needs to be out there, and this is just another way. But I have a deal to make with you, dude. If you win, I just need you to shout me out a little bit, dude. Just give me some, just like, yo, I wouldn't be getting here if that episode that I recorded, that with our 8 or 9 listeners and subscribers that we probably have here, and the 4 people that are listening. One of them is probably my mom. I don't know if she listens to this or not, but I'm sure there's some family in there that just feels bad for me. But just I need it, dude. I just need to win.
My mom's listening too, brother. Yeah, man, I think that you got yourself a deal, first of all. No matter what, every single person who elevated, right? I mean, Anthony Nelson is a guy who's done more behind the scenes. Like, he's never told me about it, but I've heard, that Anthony Nelson talks about me in high regard and what I have to say in high regard, right?
Yep.
I've seen the guy, half dozen times face to face. He's never said anything like that to me, right?
Yeah.
He did put me directly on the tech panel last year. I'm pretty sure that was his call. Russ didn't even know me at the time, so I'm pretty sure that was his call. But I mean, there's so many people out there that have been pushing this message and supporting me, whether in public, behind the scenes, or in any other way. And I can't thank all of you guys enough, man. Every single person, Andy included too. Man. Yeah.
Andy's the man. I love. Listen, I'm so thankful too. Just thinking it back, we'll get emotional towards the end of this thing, but Brandon, I can't thank guys like you enough, bro. It's tough, being it's talking from the vendor side and be vulnerable. It's tough. It's tough. This is a tough industry to crack, right? There's a lot of misinformation that's getting spread out there. There's a lot of selfish motives behind these things. And when you have genuine people that want to do the right thing, the reason I started my agency is because of that. I'm a contractor, dude. I bounced he's 11 years old. I remember bouncing him on the table when he was 2 months old, teaching myself HTML and how to develop websites. And from there I said, you know what, man, I need to start helping guys like me, because this stuff is so, it's not rocket science, dude. You can really do it if you're trying to do the right thing and trust you. So I can't thank you enough, bro. And I'll just speak for everybody in the industry for what you're doing right now, because I don't hear anybody doing what you're doing. I don't hear anybody that's putting themselves out there. Anybody that puts together some sort of GPT or thing like that is trying to has selfish motives, dude, and you're giving it away. So, dude, that's why you're here, and that's why I hope to have you on as a guest moving forward. And that's why I want you to win this award. And I'm sure you're going to be an integral part of how this is moving forward. And all of these big industry tycoons, I think you're going to be up there with the best of them, dude. And I can't thank you enough for your time coming on here and all the time you've probably given to everybody else about this. But we're rounding out about an hour, man, and I'd love to chat a little bit more. I think we're both doing really good with John. Terminator hasn't come back and tried to assassinate us just yet. Keep your head on a swivel. I hope you're at home. I'm good here. I'm armed in my office, so I'll be all right. But any final thoughts before we get off here?
Yeah, man. Do you want to talk about Justified a little bit before we close out?
Let's yeah, for sure. Because guys, Doug's coming back. I know I keep saying I hope he come back. He's coming back, but Doug's got something in the works here. I think you guys want to hear about. So Doug, give us the nitty gritty about it, and then we'll get everybody real excited and get you back on here shortly.
Guys, Justified is our answer to things like Allevion and Claim Center. This is our justification tool that uses a very strong, very well-trained AI engine to justify every level of restoration bills. Okay, so from standards-based things all the way up to best practices, and not tribal knowledge's actual best practices that have a document written about them. And it can do all these things. It can compare your estimates and do a lot of other stuff like that too. We got a whole nother episode coming about that. But guys, I'm not just sitting here telling you to get ready. I'm actually working on things that are going to help us as an industry become that way, right? We're not just now being changed by AI. The carriers are not going to be slow to adopt. They're inventing engines and agentic workflows as I finish this sentence, okay? We're being changed more to the point being forced, right, by systems that manage claims, route files, validate scope, and not one of them so far is coming from our team. Okay, Justified is the first product of its kind that will be coming from our side of the ball, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. Ben Riccardi is probably going to have one of the first actual public displays of its use on an upcoming episode, and I can't wait to do that for you with you either, Ben. Let's level this playing field. I'm sick and tired of playing defense. I know everybody else is sick and tired of playing defense. You want to protect the margins, reduce payment delays, stop living in supplement hell in this limbo where the adjusters controlling the world. We got to beat we can't beat the AI. We have to out document and outthink it.
That's like a Braveheart speech, dude. You got me fired up right now. And I've been trying to tease that Justified thing out of you for a minute. I don't know if you've noticed, like, what can we do, man? Tell me what. This is what the direct answer was. Doug's new platform he's bringing out, Justified, is going to be what you can do. So start taking back your time, start getting familiar with some of the things that we spoke about tonight, but stay tuned because Justified's coming in and it's going to be a game changer for you. I've seen it. What I can say about it right now, because of the NDA, Doug may be signed. There's actually a guy standing here right now with a pistol, but it's very secure. I think that people forget that. Keep this in mind. From some sort of technical here, but the data is very important. Your data is very important, and the one thing that we got a chance to, and we'll talk about this in the episode, is to see how secure your system really is, man. And so I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna get that on the schedule very soon, dude. Again, I appreciate you. Check out the QR code if you want to get to know Doug a little bit. He'll be at RIA getting his award on stage with his whole entourage there. That's gonna be following him around, trying to learn everything they can about AI. If you do see a guy that kind of looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of looks a little sketchy following him around, give him a heads up, dude. Same thing goes for me. Doug, thanks for all your time, buddy. I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to talking about Justified on this next episode.
And we're SOC 2 compliant as of today, brother.
Ooh, look at that. Look how fast Doug moves. You think AI moves fast? Wait till you meet Doug Weatherman.
We're ready, dude. This thing is going to take the industry by storm.
I can't wait, man. We need it, buddy. All right. We'll talk to you soon, bud. If today's episode helped you, then subscribe and send it to another contractor who needs to hear it. And if your digital marketing isn't producing at the level it should, then let's fix it. At Ironclad Restoration Marketing, we build and manage restoration-specific websites, SEO strategies, Google Ads and LSA campaigns, and Google business profiles, all engineered to drive book jobs, not just vanity metrics. Schedule a strategy session in the show notes, and let's tighten up your growth plan. We'll see you on the next episode.